everybody, and welcome to Gamers Without Borders. It is Sunday, June 5th, 2011. This is Test Zero, and with me today is Ozzy Arcane and Chris the Nerd.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, and today we're going to be talking about E3 speculation, with E3 coming up tomorrow, right?
Yep, tomorrow all starts off.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting. Convention. Now let's get the very, very, very obvious out of the way. Project Cafe.
Yeah, Project Cafe. The thing about Project Cafe is definitely that controller is what's interesting me. Is just how stupid it looks.
Well, that's the stuff that we've seen around is pretty much just speculation. From what I
Right.
heard, it is a controller that has a touchscreen on it, but I don't think it looks like that. I think the touchscreen may be a bit bigger. What I hope it's going to be like is kind of like if you had the GBA reader with the GameCube. It'd be kind of like that, but with the DS and the Wii. Or the Super Wii in this case, or the Wii 2 Project Cafe, whatever they end up calling it. But it would be a system that you can... I talked about this in a previous episode, but it is a system where you can bring your controller over to your friend's house. You have your characters and your stats already saved in there. You can load your character into their system, play with them, get whatever rewards you would get, and then take those home and play with them yourself on your own version, in the own game. And possibly even if you're away from the main system, you could play the game just portable, like on the bus or whatever. You could do like a semi version of the game, kind of like the thing they had for the PS1 that only came out in Japan, or the VMU on the Dreamcast that had like mini games that actually had bearing on the actual game. But now that now the handheld technology has severely improved, they could be more than just mini games.
Yeah. I'd agree with that, but the only thing actually that worries me about the Project Cafe, and I've said this to a couple of people, is the Wii, the Wii 1, or whatever you want to call it, the Wii. It has such a large amount of people bought that, and here they are now. They're coming out with the next Wii, Project Cafe, Wii 2, whatever. And what's worrying me, are these people really going to be willing to drop probably what's going to be a high price point for something like this?
We saw something like this happen. Yeah, I know what you're getting at. We saw something like this happen back in the 1980s when we had the Atari 2600 as the first home console, but then like 3-4 years later, they had the next one come out, the Atari 5200, and people were wondering, wait, we just already bought an Atari 2600. Why do we have to buy this entirely new system for $300 when we still have the old system? Why are you trying to gouge us? What's going on? What kind of scam is your company running? And this is no different. These people, the Wii is pretty much the only game system they've ever owned. They probably don't even see it as a game system. They see it just like when they owned like a cable box or a DVD player. They figure they buy it and then they never have to do anything else with it.
Right.
And then, of course, you get the same people complaining when DVD came out and they had to replace all their VHS, and now Blu-ray is coming out and people have to replace all their DVDs.
Though, to be fair, at least a Blu-ray player can play a DVD. A DVD player can't play a VHS.
Yes, but yeah, that's also true. But hopefully the Project Cafe will be backward compatible with the Wii.
Oh,
I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I would really be impressed if it was also compatible with the GameCube. That would be interesting, because the only system that has done that is the PS3, to be backwards compatible 2 generations, and it's not even backwards compatible with the PS1 or PS2 anymore.
No, it still plays PS1 games, it just doesn't play PS2 games.
Which is
Interesting.
fucking retarded.
That's a weird jump.
Yeah, it is, but yeah, because I actually played...
Because the PS2 had some of the best games like of that generation.
No, absolutely.
But I mean that's why when they release PS1 classics on the PSN, they're really just basically putting up the discs game files up there to be downloaded, because it still can emulate the PS1.
That's why Sony doesn't make the PS2 games backwards compatible, so you buy them off of PSN.
Well, no, they haven't done that with too many of those. I was talking about the PS1 games.
No, but that's the main reason why they would do that, why they wouldn't make it backwards compatible. It's just so you can rebuy it.
We saw the Xbox do this as well. Pretty much all the systems were backwards compatible. The PS3 less so, but the Xbox did this as well, and they still have Xbox compatibility, even though you can buy the original Xbox games on the online system anyway. I bought Fable 1. Poor choice to buy, but yeah, you can still buy them on the store and although it's not really much cheaper than to buy the actual used cartridge. But sometimes people don't want to bother with having discs, having to swap out the disc, and that's why people are lazy. So they just buy a huge hard drive and they can just download all the games they want.
Well, a couple things bother me about Project Cafe. I think they said they're going to have 8 gigabytes of internal memory. For a next-gen system, that seems kind of low.
Kind of low, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also wondering how they're going to handle backwards compatibility with the digital download games like the Virtual Console, because at first they didn't have proper accounts set up for those with the Wii. It just remembered that you downloaded it on that system.
You download it to the system, yeah. That would be... perhaps they might do something where you create an account, you download a new channel on the Wii, you can create an account, and that'll link those things there to your account there. And then you could download them on your new system.
Yeah,
that'd be an interesting thing to do.
It might.
That would be an interesting way to do it.
To deal with.
Yeah, I'm sure they had to have talked about something like that.
Well, I'm sure the other option would be just to it has the ability to play these games off of the SD card. It could just let you copy them to the SD card, and you'll be able to unlock it on the new system.
Yeah,
maybe.
Although then I'd imagine you could just copy it off your friend's Wii, and you could get all their games. So I'm sure it's come across their minds. So it will be interesting how they decide to handle that, though.
And that whole thing, like the 8 gigabytes, with how crazy Sony and Microsoft have been about releasing their console with like the most amazing hard drive space possible. Why isn't Nintendo doing that too?
Yeah, I mean...
Well, Nintendo has always been very minimalist. They've been trying to do gameplay over graphics, and
I'm not talking about graphics.
Very obvious about that. But not only that, yeah, it definitely... Well, also, when you think about higher graphics do result in higher files, because just in number of polygons, number of vertices, these are bigger files that you need to deal with.
Right.
So when the Wii is only able to do them simpler... that does keep the file size down, as well as if you're compressing video or something.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing about the Project Cafe is they're saying that this is more powerful. According to Nintendo, though, they're saying that this is more powerful than an Xbox 360. This can compete with the PS3 in terms of graphical fidelity. When they're saying stuff like that, that's going to be a larger file. Don't you think?
Perhaps the 8 gigabytes is part of the controller, not the system itself.
That would probably make a little bit more sense. I'd say Go ahead. Sorry.
I've been dumbfounded with how they handled the Wii, because the internal hard drive is half a gigabyte, and they have all these downloadable games. It just doesn't seem like they really thought that through very well.
Yeah, and it took them 2 years after launch for them to get the SD card compatibility to be able to launch games from the SD card.
Yeah, and you can't do that if you want to save on the game either. It has to be on the hard drive if you want to save.
Yeah.
I think it's because they thought, oh wow, money.
I don't know why they would think about it in terms of money.
Cloud's
it would save them money to make it a smaller hard drive, but hard drive space is not that expensive.
Yeah.
No.
It's just Nintendo always seems to have really, really been in favor of fighting against the norm, even when it's to their own disadvantage. Detriment.
Much better word.
Oh well. We won't know what's going on until we hear from Project Cafe, and it's only it's less than 48 hours away that we're going to know definite information on it, which is I'm waiting for it. I'm very excited for it.
Same here.
So we can move on. So let's stop talking about stupid gimmicky game systems, and let's talk about the Kinect.
Wait a minute.
Let's talk about gimmicky systems and talk about the accessory.
Yes.
So what will Microsoft continue to do with the Kinect? What's going to be going on?
I think it's still going to be a whole lot of nothing, honestly. That's what it has been.
I think that yes, you're absolutely right. It's been pretty much the Dance Central machine. It's done pretty much that, and a bunch of like minigame shovelware collections. But I think when there's a lot of people who bought the Kinect. You know, I bought the Kinect. I didn't buy it. Someone bought it for me. It was a fun little gift. Anyway, when you get something like that that a lot of people bought, now you want them to be like, okay, now you bought this system. Here's the games that we're going to give you, you know, to prove to you that you made a good choice buying this over the Move or buying this over just getting a Wii because it was an expensive piece of hardware. And I think they're probably going to announce a lot of Kinect games at E3. I know they're probably going to do a bigger demo of the Star Wars Kinect game, which I think will probably sell a lot.
You know what I think they need to do? I think Angry Joe said this before as well, is they need to make a game that utilizes both the Kinect and the regular controller at the same time.
I'm not sure how that would work.
I don't think so.
Because the Kinect is really trying to market definitely more towards the casual gamers, which the Wii has completely dominated the market for. So the Kinect and then by extension the Move is trying to reach out to this generation of people that see video gaming as a very passive activity. You're sitting on the couch, you're barely moving, and you're like headshotting and teabagging all you want, but you're still just sitting down on the couch, and it's a very, very sedentary lifestyle. With the Kinect and the Move, and also by the Wii, you're standing up, you're moving, you're doing stuff, and you've seen this in the commercials for the Kinect, the same stuff you saw in the commercials for the Wii. Yeah, we're getting shovelware, and haha, all you people who made fun of the Wii, now you see how you like it. But we're getting the shovelware. We're going to be getting a lot of stuff coming out with the Kinect, but hopefully we'll see some sort of a killer app to come out, something that actually in a hardcore way that actual hardcore gamers can get on board with. Because as it stands, there's pretty much Dance Central, and that's it.
And
there's talk of a Gears of War for the Kinect. I have no idea how that would work.
That.
I have no idea how that would work, but if it does, that would be like a hardcore audience for the Kinect.
I'm not getting off my couch to chainsaw someone. That.
But in a way, it's actually kind of interesting. Is Sony has actually had quite a few games on that regular games that had Move compatibility added to them.
Support, like Heavy Rain. They had it for the new Resistance game, I believe.
Yep, Killzone had it.
Killzone.
They were supposed
Killzone Resistance. I don't know the PS3, so they all kind of blend together.
Yes, they were supposed to with Resident Evil 5, but I think that got scrapped and they just released the DLC by itself. And actually, I have Aragorn's Quest that says it has Move support on it. I haven't played it yet, and I don't have a Move, so it doesn't matter. But
I think. Just going back to the Kinect for a second, I think Dance Central 2 will probably be announced probably tomorrow. Dance Central 2 will probably be one of the first things that they announce for the Kinect, because that was, as of now, was the killer app for the Kinect, was Dance Central. They're probably going to announce...
I believe that might be their best-selling game for the Kinect as well.
I believe it is,
and
I think it's followed...
look at what its competition is.
Yeah.
Its competition, I will admit that the Kinect is a lot better at doing motion control in terms of dancing than something like the Wii.
Yeah.
Because with the Wii, it is very limited in what it can sense. But with the Kinect, you can sense the entire body, so you're able to tell whether they're doing these moves correctly. But the whole thing comes down to what are the gamers going to choose?
And I think Microsoft, in order to capture the casual people, That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go straight at Nintendo. They're gonna be like, okay, here's the Wii. It can only do this. Like, this is Just Dance. Like, on the Wii, it only really captures your arm movements, and that's about it. Look at Kinect here. Here's what Kinect can do. It gets your full body. It has all these sensors. It's such an advanced piece of technology. This is why it's better, and this is why you should purchase this over a Wii. And they're probably not going to even mention the Move, because the Move is just so incredibly inferior.
I don't know. The Move has some interesting technology going forward. I mean, it's able to sense exactly where it is, which is something that the Wii Remote cannot do.
They're both better than the Wii Remote. I would say that.
Well, the Wii Motion Plus, don't sell the Wii Motion Plus short.
No, not to sell the Wii Motion.
I mean, it's able to do stuff, although having to recalibrate it every, 2 rounds is very annoying in Wii Sports Resort. But I think, well, in addition to this, I think we might even see some new consoles announced beyond the Project Cafe. Because the Xbox 360 came out, 2004?
2005.
2005. So it's been about 6 years since since the new console began, and if you look back in history, it's been about 5, 6, 7 years between each console generation.
Yeah.
So we're definitely due for the 8th generation.
Sony has already confirmed that the PlayStation 4 is being worked on. They just haven't announced any details about it.
My guess is with the Wii's are the first one out of the gate for the 8th generation. I think that if Microsoft does anything with the next Xbox, whether it be called the 720 or whatever,
720, yeah.
Whatever they're gonna call it, which would be fucking stupid if they do, but if that's what it's called, I think it'd be kind of, after last year they just came out with the new.
It's going to be called the Microsoft Nova.
The Nova?
Yeah, didn't you hear?
Yeah, it's going to be called the Microsoft Nova.
I think
April Fools.
Yeah, April Fools. I don't think it should be. If it is announced this year, great, but I think they'd wait till next year to do it, because I mean they just came with the Slim 360, and I mean last year was the big focus on the Kinect.
They have plenty of stuff left for the 360. The 360 is not on its way out, especially with everything coming up on
with all the stuff that just came out for it. It'd be absolutely stupid if they announced it at this E3, and if they do, they'll probably say it's another 2 years off.
Yeah, and even when they make a new system, they're still going to make games for it, because they're still making PS2 games.
Yeah. Here's to hoping that Sony doesn't talk about the PlayStation 2 in their conference.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it'd be dumb of Microsoft to announce the 720 now, or whatever it's going to be called. Because just because of all this stuff. And if they do, they'll probably say some sort of Kinect bundle. It'll probably be something made for Kinect. That's what I'm guessing the 720 will be. It'll be something really focusing with Kinect. And I still think that's a year or 2 out.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I will say this, it'll probably still be more powerful than what the Nintendo machine is, because Nintendo's saying that this is just competing with PS3 now, and if we can generally assume that each generation the quality of graphics get much better, it's still going to be inferior.
We're kind of at a point right now when the graphics really aren't going to look that much better from one generation to the next. I mean, if you jump from PlayStation to PlayStation 2, yeah, there's a definite increase. If you jump PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3, there's an increase, but it's not quite as much. And if you compare something like God of War 2 to God of War 3, it really doesn't look that much different. The God of War 3, you have a lot more happening, but the graphics themselves don't look that much more spectacular than God of War 2.
Yeah, well,
but then at a certain point, it's all about having real-time graphics and just doing so much with it.
Yeah.
I think you can also attribute that to the PS1 was when they were really just learning what to do with 3D graphics.
Learning how to do 3D graphics, yeah.
Right. But I would
yeah,
say
at this point, gaming is really not going to look that much better one generation to the next. Once you get to photorealistic, where can you go from there? And
no, I know that.
I'm not even
That's
sure
what
photorealistic is the best way to go. I mean, if you look at something like Super Mario Galaxy, which looks spectacular on the Wii.
Yeah.
Super Mario Galaxy looked amazing on the Wii. It's probably like one of the best looking Wii games out there. Maybe Other M is the other possibility, but it looks spectacular, and that's just on the basic on the basic Wii processing. So at a certain point, it really doesn't matter what the graphics look like because everything is just going to look spectacular.
Yeah,
it matters what you do with it. It matters what the gameplay is like. And now we're finally going to come down to people are going to realize that once all systems look the same, it comes down to the games, and it comes down to the controls, and it comes down to the support.
Yeah. No. And I'm not trying to say that you're wrong, but what I was just saying was you can get it'll be marginally better, like very 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 small increases, and I'd say you can look at that. Look at LA Noire. Like that game, the facial technology, like that kind of technology for mocapping actors and doing stuff like that, that's the kind of thing that'll get better, is what I'm talking about.
But that goes back to the production of it. That doesn't really have anything to do with the actual graphics and processing. I mean, you could process something like that on the Wii because it's all just animations that are mapped from the original voice acting and performances. So nothing's really going on in terms of processing.
No, right. What were you going to say, Ozzy?
I forgot now.
Okay. Well, let's stop looking at the new consoles and let's look at what the non-console companies are going to be talking about. What are we going to see from companies such as Squaresoft?
Well, I know I'm probably the only person on Reviewers Unknown looking forward to Final Fantasy 13 too.
Yep.
I haven't played Final Fantasy 13, so I am not going to pass judgment on it. I mean, I've always kind of liked the Final Fantasy games, but the last one I played all the way through to the end was Final Fantasy 7. And so that says something not only about them, maybe it says more to me about my ability to finish games, but I'm going to pass judgment on Final Fantasy 13. I don't imagine that can be as bad as people say, although I have my doubts. I don't know.
The thing is, the people that we interact with, the people who we're basically getting these opinions from, like Spoony and Sean Fowles and the people who diss 13, these are people with pretty negative attitudes to begin with.
And they exaggerate things.
Spoony doesn't go in trying to hate these things, as he said before. He's actually a Final Fantasy fan. He's always been a Final Fantasy fan, but he thought the game really kind of dropped the ball.
Right, but
yes.
The point I'm making is that we're dealing with people who I've seen Spoony in some of his vlogs. No matter what, like even if it's really not that bad, he goes, "Oh my god, this is so horrible. It's so bad."
Well, because he's trying to be funny.
Calm down.
He's trying to be an exaggerated version of himself. Even in his vlogs, he's just kind of, "Oh my god, this is so horrible." Like when he was talking about Indiana Jones 4. He went on, "My god, this movie is fucking horrible."
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is
I saw
people...
Indiana Jones 4. He is kind of exaggerating. I mean, it's a stupid action movie. But when you're talking about Indiana Jones, you kind of expect more than it just to be a stupid action movie.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is, a lot of people look at stuff like him and others are saying, and they base their own opinion on that rather than playing the game themselves at all. And
exactly, and I am no stranger to this. I did my entire episode on Milon's Secret Castle just because the Angry Video Game Nerd said that the game sucks. If you search for Milon's Secret Castle on Google, like the first video search right after the Wikipedia entry on the game is Angry Video Game Nerd, how much he hates Milon's Secret Castle and how much this game sucks. And I think that's really unfair to the game, but I don't want to repeat myself.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm going to pass judgment on 13. I haven't played a Final Fantasy game in so long. The most recent one I bought was Final Fantasy 12, which maybe I'll play that one next. I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. But like I said before we started the podcast, at least Lightning's not in booty shorts.
Or singing J-pop.
Or singing J-pop. I mean, it's actually kind of interesting that they seem to have, from the looks of it, they seem to be stepping more towards in spite of it, it's Final Fantasy anyhow, but it's stepping more towards the fantasy away from the sci-fi leanings of the show or game, because she's actually wearing armor now instead of just, her clothes with her little gun sword.
They should do I would like to see that from Final Fantasy. Like do a high fantasy type of Final Fantasy game, one that's very medieval style. Because all the Final Fantasy games that we've seen have all been like sci-fi fantasy. It's been kind of this anachronistic area where it's like they have swords and guns. Yeah, they have swords and they have guns. I don't really need to go any further than that. But they have swords and guns, but they also have like laser elevators and magic, and it really kind of feels disjointed. I would love to see from Final Fantasy back to like the old school swords and sorcery, very medieval style of gameplay, like the original Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy IV, which I think is my favorite in the series.
I think that's
kind of almost the steampunk style would even be too far advanced.
Yeah, I think that's what they tried to do with 9. Was go more to the regular fantasy. I haven't played it though.
I've played 9. I liked it. I liked the ability to get your abilities from your weapons, which they seem to have taken from the tactics games. It was an interesting way of doing it, but I never finished that one either. I actually have 2 copies of it.
I just have it on the PSN. Plan on playing it eventually. Other than, well, also, I'm kind of wondering what they're going to do with the other Final Fantasy titles, because they have Final Fantasy Versus 13, which right now I think they're still saying it's going to be a PS3 exclusive, but I think Square wants money a little more than that. Considering their current financial situation.
I think that's just a stupid name, by the way. Final Fantasy Versus 13.
Well, there was another one.
It's like you're saying something about the fanboys. It's like the fanboys versus Final Fantasy 13.
It looks more like Final Fantasy versus the number 13.
There was another one called that they were going to hold the number 13. It was Final Fantasy 13, and it was like some really Japanese sounding name. I think it was like the name of a sword or something. I can't remember, but they just changed that. Decided it's not going to be part of the whole 13 line now. It's going to be like Final Fantasy R-Type 1 or something weird like that. I don't remember what it was called originally, because I haven't really read up on it in a while.
I'm trying to remember that. I know what you're talking about too. That's really bugging me. I remember it was Final Fantasy 13. Then there was 13. Then it was Versus 13. There was one more. It was fuck. I don't even remember. Oh well.
I probably should.
I'm sure somebody listening will make a comment below.
Yeah, and tell us what it is.
Unless nobody cares what we have to say, which is also a definite possibility.
Yeah.
But aside from Final Fantasy, I mean, we also basically have Square Enix.
Well, they have Deus Ex.
That too. But also
Deus Ex. That's gonna be interesting. I got the original Deus Ex. I know it has all this like amazing technology going on, this amazing original style. Of course, this was back before Square Enix owned Eidos, but to me it seemed like they didn't know what they were doing at the time with the original Deus Ex, because it's like you try to sneak, but you have no indication of how well you're sneaking, how far in the shadows you are, how far out you can sneak before somebody sees you. So it's like, fuck it, just give me the gun. I'm going to go in guns blazing and play through the game that way, because the game will adapt and let you do that. So hopefully with Human Revolution, you'll be able to do a lot more stuff like that. You'll be able to find your own way through the level, which is something that I've always liked about these kind of games. Instead of giving you one way of playing through the game, you have multiple ways. You could choose to be a hacker, you could choose to be a brawler, you could choose to be whatever you want to do. If somebody comes up to you, you could talk your way out of it, or you can punch them in the face, or you can hit them with poison or something, and let them die on their own. And it all comes down to what you want to do as a player, which I think is a great way to add a lot of depth and replay value to these kind of games.
No, absolutely. I'm just looking right here. This is the E3 lineup for Square Enix. This is what they have. You mentioned because they own Eidos, they've got Tomb Raider, they've got Final Fantasy 13-2, they got Deus Ex Human Revolution, they got Hitman Absolution, they got Dead Island, Dungeon Siege 3, Wakfu, and Heroes of Ruin.
Dead Island's going to be interesting. I want to see what they do with the trailer. Was good. The trailer was fun.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned earlier before we started, I'm kind of looking forward to the new Tomb Raider game. I want to see what the gameplay is actually going to be like before I really decide if I'm going to be buying it or not. But I just like the redesign. I never was really a fan of Lara Croft before. She looks more like someone you could actually picture existing now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of interested to see the new Tomb Raider.
We saw the Tomb Raider 1 Guardian of Light, and that one was a complete reimagining of the game, and it did well. And which is what they've been saying. I have a magazine article from a couple of years ago, and they said if Tomb Raider is going to survive, it has to adapt, and it did. They changed the core gameplay, and they have the Tomb Raider: The Guardian of Light, and that game it was really good. People loved that one because it changed everything about the original Tomb Raider while still keeping the same type of style. Like the whole puzzle solving and raiding tombs and everything. When was the last time you saw Lara Croft actually raiding a tomb in the Tomb Raider games?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of
Tomb Raider Anniversary.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten used to her shooting cops while trying to clear her name.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, so also we're expecting to see something from Peter Molyneux. Hopefully, it's not Fable 4.
But knowing Molyneux, I bet it will be.
I don't know. He received a lot of flack from Fable. He's been doing some interesting stuff, but I don't know.
You know what?
Maybe it's a revival. Maybe it's a revival of the theme park series.
Maybe it'll be Milo.
But you know, if it is Fable 4, what's he going to promise that he can't give us this time? Is he going to promise that Fable 4 will cure cancer?
He's probably going to promise that it'll be good.
I don't know. We always need to give these people the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you go in expecting the game to suck. I assume that's why everybody's always so cynical. If you go in expecting a game to suck and it sucks, you were right. If you go in expecting it to suck and it's good, then you're pleasantly surprised. Whereas on the other hand, if you go in expecting it to be good and it sucks, then you're disappointed. And nobody likes to be disappointed, which is why if they keep their standards low and they remain cynical, they're either right or they're happy. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. Well, with Fable, it's a series where you go in there and you go, "Oh, hey, look, the features that were supposed to be in the last game."
Yeah, exactly.
They're here now. Like so I remember when Fable 2 came out,
we're going to be seeing the features that we expected to see in Fable 3.
Exactly. Like that's the thing with Fable 2. Like they were saying, like Fable 2, one of the big things they were touting upon release, like, oh, you can jump over fences now. I was like, and you were just thinking, well, why couldn't I do that in Fable 1? And why is this being touted as such a huge feature now?
They didn't have that technology back then.
Yeah, well, here's a really funny here's a really funny one. It's not from Fable, but Overlord to Overlord 2. Like I played the first Overlord. I refused to play the second one because they're telling you, oh, great new features, a mini map, and the ability to control your camera. I'm like, Those are basic features. Why the fuck weren't they in the first game?
Oh man, Overlord, haven't played that game in a while. Come to think of it, though, I'm guessing Peter Molyneux. They did that whole big thing unveiling the Milo. I'm guessing that's probably going to make a return this year.
Maybe. I mean, didn't they have another game that they were working on? I have no idea what it was called. It was called like Project Silver or something. I have no idea.
I just remember Milo just based on how stupid it looked. Yeah.
I mean, who wants to? I mean, I'd imagine that the concept of Milo kind of just went into the Connectimals.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to be playing with some creepy kid. They want to be playing with a tiger.
Oh.
Come play with us, Peter.
Some millions of people. And the poor girl they had demoing that was freaked out. She's like, "Hello, Milo." And he's like, "Hello, Katie."
Red rum, red rum.
It's been a whole day since we've played.
Oh my god, what am I don't even know what's going on.
I'm guessing that's what Milo's gonna be. Or they'll let you customize Milo. You can buy his Latino cousin Martine.
They already do. I mean, they already do stuff like that. I mean, when you haven't been playing the game, it's like, you've been gone a while. Where have you been? It's like you do that with Pokemon, or you do that with the Tamagotchi games. They even did that with Brain Age. It's like you come back. It's like, I've missed you. You missed a day the other day. That's why I haven't opened up Brain Age in like 2 years, because I know Dr. Kurowaga is going to be, where the hell have you been?
So you get the same thing when you play like Wii Fit games. It's like you've been gone like.
It's like I get enough of this stuff from my. It's like I get enough of this stuff from my girlfriend. I don't need to hear it from my video games.
Yeah, I mean, at least when you're gone for a long time in Animal Crossing, you just come back and all your plants are dead.
Yeah, but no, you come back after a week in Wii Fit. It's like, well, you've been downing some cheeseburgers, haven't you, you fatty? Get back on the scale.
You dumb bib wearing dope.
Oh,
Next time, eat a salad.
Yeah. Oh, I hated Wii Fit because every time I'd step on that stupid little balance board, the thing would groan. Like on the screen, you'd hear a little "oh."
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
One of my friends actually had a coworker who can't use Wii Fit because the board told him he's too fat.
Gee, thanks a lot, Nintendo.
He didn't tell me I was too fat.
He's literally his weight. Basically, the game's like, you can't play this game. You might break the board. It's like, shouldn't you at least offer a heavier duty peripheral for someone like that then, since they kind of
especially if it's well, the Wii Fit in America is actually hardier than the Wii Fit in Japan.
Well, yeah,
it's actually designed to be stronger.
Well, Americans are fatter than Japanese people.
Yeah.
Not for now. You should make a Wii Fit in America made of like adamantium for those special
adamantium Fit.
Made of kryptonite.
Adamantium Fit.
Oh, we've gotten way off topic.
Oh well, we've got one last thing to talk about, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully Sony will also apologize from what happened with the PSN.
Yeah.
Going back to the main three now.
They've been so bad with that, like, because I actually have PlayStation 3 as well as my other systems, but they couldn't keep people up to date on what was going on. Even after the initial hacker attack, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have it back up at this point. That day would come, then when the day got there, they'd be like, oh, it's not going to be up today, it's going to be up a week from now. It's like, you had to know that delay was coming before the day got here. Why did you wait till today to tell us it's delayed again? And they did that multiple times with the PSN and the PSN store. It's just like...
Mm-hmm.
And then it came online just in time to give us the Duke Nukem Forever demo. Gee, thanks a lot.
It's just like, is too many of the people in charge over in Japan and not communicating with their American office enough or something? I don't know what the hell's going on with them.
I don't know. Hopefully they apologize or like make some crack about it. I'd say they gotta be pretty. I would recommend being pretty humorous about it. Like drag Kevin Butler out there, have him.
Yes,
crack
get
a few
Kevin
jokes.
Butler out there to apologize.
Exactly.
VP of saving Sony's ass.
And that's what they should have his title as too.
But instead, they're probably gonna do what they already did on their blog and be like, oh, you know that all that stuff, that wasn't our fault. This could have happened to anybody. Quit bitching at us. That's basically what they said on their blog.
Website.
The only thing that'll earn them the absolution is this ritual seppuku up on stage.
Oh,
Please happen.
yeah. I mean, because they've really. I honestly don't know how they're gonna recover from this completely. I don't know. If
they're gonna recover. They're gonna recover just fine. I mean, the Sony fanboys are like, I miss the PlayStation Network, but I'm not gonna fucking pay Microsoft. The hell, they're probably thinking Microsoft sent the hackers at Sony.
That's the Microsoft army.
Because look at it now. Now the Wii has been hacked by the same company. Microsoft is the only one that hasn't been hacked yet. So they're probably thinking that the people at Microsoft are actually behind all these things that brought down the PlayStation Network, and then somebody hacked Nintendo today as well.
Yeah, they just hacked their website though.
Nothing Sony. I mean, I hate all fanboys, but nothing the Sony fanboys say surprises me anymore. I mean, they so heavily are against the whole monthly fee thing. They're like Sony would never charge a monthly fee for anything. It's like, yeah, Sony Online Entertainment, moron. Their whole like 7 MMOs that they charge monthly fees for.
Well, that's nothing different. That's nothing different than to have to pay a monthly subscription fee for an MMO.
No,
yeah, Sony isn't really doing anything different in that respect.
Yeah, but they just, and the thing is, Sony's been trying to move towards a pay-to-play model for the PlayStation Network. It's just
I can't wait till they do.
Yeah, but after this security issue, there's no way they're going to be able to try to push it anytime soon because no one's gonna pay for PSN after that happened.
Nope.
That's one thing I hope to see with the next generation. I don't want to see any company charging for online play. At this point, only Microsoft is doing it, and they did it back before. They did it because they were one of the pioneers of it. They were like one of the first companies to actually do it online successfully. Yes, I know the Dreamcast had it, but who the fuck owned a Dreamcast?
Well, and you know what actually does kind of bother me about Xbox Live Gold is you know, like with EA's games, their games are hosted on their own servers. Which is why they actually get shut down at times. But the thing is, if those are on their own servers, have nothing to do with Microsoft, why can't we play those games without Xbox Live Gold? It's not being run by Microsoft anyhow. That's their servers.
Mm-hmm.
The only game that you can play on Xbox without Xbox Live Gold is Final Fantasy XI.
And that's because it has a subscription of its own. No, and Phantasy Star Universe, but they're both games that have their own subscription.
Microsoft must see a cut of it then.
Or they just really wanted to have the people on their system.
No, that too.
You know, they get the cut of it from the people buying the actual game.
Yeah.
Oh, we're kind of just tapering off at this point.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it for now.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. What game are you most excited? What game specifically are you most excited to hear about at E3? Chris, why don't you go first?
I am most excited for. We already talked about it a little bit. I am most excited for Deus Ex: Human Revolution. I really love the first game. I was a little bit off on Invisible War, but I still kind of enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what they do with this one. I'm so stoked to be able to play this game however I want to play it. So, and I'm kind of interested to see what they do with the story. Haven't seen much on that, so yeah. Deus Ex.
I'm still excited. I want to see more from Skyward Sword. I know it's going to be like the exact same Legend of Zelda game we've seen before, although people have said it is going to be different. But we haven't seen that much from Skyward Sword in quite a while, ever since, I think, PAX, really.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much the same as we saw back then. Everybody's talking about the old Ocarina of Time remake on the 3DX. No, fuck that. I don't want to look into the past. I want to see into the future. I want to see the future of the Zelda franchise. I want to see Skyward Sword.
And, it's not.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like remakes or ports, but I mean, you don't really need news on them. If they come out and you want them, you buy them. Otherwise, you just who cares?
It's because the game is so different every time you play.
Yeah. Me, I'm probably most looking forward to Resident Evil Raccoon City Operations, because I want to play a Resident Evil game that has zombies in it again, and that's what it's going to have. It'll be it'll be a little different because it's supposed to be a squad-based shooter, so it clearly isn't going to play like the regular Resident Evil games because I don't think those controls would really work for that type of game.
Is it going to have like multiplayer with other players?
Yeah, up to 4 players.
That's going to be cool.
That's really all I know about it. Because
for viewers unknown, let's
play. It's like the Resident Evil version of Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
we should do it. Let's play that.
It could be worse than that.
All they've really released so far is a teaser trailer, so hopefully there'll be more information on that at E3.
Mhm. Yeah, Capcom always gives out a lot of information at E3, so.
Well, we won't know until E3 happens in, I don't know, 12 hours from now or so.
Yeah.
So,
9:30 Microsoft press conference.
Yeah. So yeah, until then, this is Test Zero.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Ozzy.
Later.